Let's give a warm welcome to 2021. Let us rejoice that one of the worst years that we have had as a nation has finally ended. But is it really something to be joyful about? COVID-19 is still plaguing our country. In the previous week alone, there have been more than 50,000 positive cases, with the death rate expected to increase significantly. This being the result of a new variant of the virus and the government's unwillingness to enable an effective zero COVID strategy. If we had acted quickly last year when the virus first arrived on these shores, we would not be facing such tragic consequences. At the moment, the government seems to be struggling with the idea of closing schools. You would think with a highly contagious virus, the thought of huddling about 30 pupils in a room with a handful of staff would be a recipe for disaster. Clearly, there are some ministers and advisors who would disagree and think life for schools, colleges, and universities should continue with some sort of normality. I would beg to differ because we are clearly in the middle of a second wave of this virus. Reopening education would only make it worse. They must be closed. The reason being that there are now two vaccines being rolled out, the Pfizer vaccine and the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and it is important to roll them out quickly to get as many people immunised as possible. The government should provide access to equipment such as laptops and Wi-Fi to pupils who would have to stay at home. I know there is an argument for key workers who need their children to be back at school, so it would be important to ensure that schools are made as safe as possible with adequate spacing to allow these students to go to school. The implementation of the vaccines, even though welcomed, also give me concerns because the vaccines are supposed to be given in 2 doses and should not be mixed. However, I see the government wants to space out the time between the doses to get more people vaccinated. My concern is whether this has been based on legitimate scientific advice. In addition, there was some speculation about mixing the vaccines due to possible problems with availability. I hope this is just speculation and nothing more, as this would definitely go against what science has recommended. This whole pandemic has shown how inadequate those in government really are, and they need to be held to account, whether this is through electoral politics or a mass movement. Time will tell. But what has happened in 2020 will not be forgotten, and if this continues into 2021, then it can only get worse for those in power.